Hello and welcome to Rule the Waves 3, playing as Japan on Super Large Plus, starting 1890. We are in episode 51. It's late 1923. Peace reigns again after the end of war with Germany. We will do a post-war review, then move on to 1924 and do the start of year review, play and update our battleship and battlecruiser designs that are in the pipeline. So let's jump in. Say hello to my friend PowerPoint. Well, the War Cabinet has gathered and they have a stack of reports on their table that are being read and discussed, and here are their findings. It was a surprise war. Well, I could have diffused the situation, so I was definitely partially responsible for the war starting, but it was still surprising in the sense that we were not ready. It was very different from previous wars that had slowly built up over time, and that gave me the ability or opportunity to really set up my forces in an optimum way. The war started so suddenly that we didn't even assemble the war council until we played a little bit, and we set some war goals, and those were seize Mozambique, seize Tanganyika, and seize the Bismarck Archipelago. And all of those failed. We also had this idea that we would have a decent pool of reparations, and that we did succeed with. That's always the goal. So 12 points, that's pretty hefty, I would say. Our strategy was again successful, I would say. Forced confrontation through invasion. We didn't actually manage to seize the possessions, but we did indeed force the confrontation on our terms, I would add, because we had a huge basing advantage, but the one that I initially didn't fully exploit since I put my whole doom stack in the Indian Ocean and got attrited for my efforts. Should have spread out quicker, but I didn't. But once I did spread out, that actually helped quite a lot with crew quality over time. Decimate, then spread out. Yeah, we inflicted serious damage on the Germans, then eventually spread out. So it wasn't perfect or flawless execution, but it was okay. The whole strategic planning part and execution, I would say it works. So we will continue doing this. It was just that the actual war goals weren't met. Hope that German budget modifier resets after the war. Yes, definitely. That was I've seen similar things happen before, but cannot remember having seen it that extreme. So 28 budget modifier, that was something. But it was almost like after the previous war, it reset for everybody or everyone except Germany. And then when tensions started to rise again and my budget modifiers started creeping up to 27, Germany went all the way up to 28. There was at least one instance during the war where the budget modifier went down, and I think that was because they had so much unrest at home because their budget modifier was so high. That's an assumption. I cannot prove it, but because I didn't really, I could have monitored the save file, but it's not that interesting. But I'm assuming that if these mechanics work the same for player and AI countries, that's what happened. Anyway, no invasion succeeded, but I claimed Iceland for the future. It was a of the moment thing, just for fun. If we lose it, it's not a big deal. Huge chunk of reparations, still 10 points. And it was a relatively short war, I would say, with light losses overall, so that we didn't pay overly much, I would say, for our new colony and reparations. And we reset the German budget modifier before it got completely out of hand. Just imagine they had just kept going and going and going. They would have had the fleet to rival the US. So overall, the war cabinet, the members are kind of happy with the overall results, even though some of the concrete war goals weren't realized. Lessons learned: surprise wars suck. Budget modifier was low pre-war, so we got none of that build-up over months or even some short years where we have budget modifier of maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe even higher before the war starts. Then we have time to activate units, so we can build additional stuff. And also, even during war, my budget modifier was never above moderate. Probably peaked at around 20, because I had a couple, 3 maybe, of those budget increase events during wartime. And because it was a surprise, I didn't refit my ships, I didn't bring up crew quality. Not a huge fan of fleet exercise, as you know. It's just so tedious. It's a pretty good way of getting crew quality up fast, but we didn't have the opportunity for that this time. But my point is, I prefer to be good or even elite on at least my key ships before we start. And I didn't position myself pre-war, so most of my ships were just hanging around either in Northeast Asia or slowly moving to Southeast Asia, or I had an active force in the Med, but it was not ideal. And of course, I should have spread out sooner. Not sure why Yeah, of course. Yeah. Don't overstack. Spread out sooner. By all means, do a doomstack battle with the AI early on, but then spread out so you don't get attrited. And I'm left with a big question. If I invaded Mozambique and we landed immediately, but then very little happened. I had a invasion planning for Tanganyika for almost as long, and very little happened. Did I hurt myself by ordering another invasion planning before the first before the first invasion was concluded? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't really understand the mechanics there. It could also be just purely a factor of the Germans actually having a lot of ships, and despite me beating them up repeatedly, they were never decimated. So maybe the invasion never went properly through. As I'm looking at the overview, I should probably reinforce places like, well, maybe not Cyprus, but Gibraltar, because invasion ranges are getting pretty expensive. Sakhalin, Hokkaido, they only have tiny fortification. And I elect to build some 6-inch batteries just to role play a little bit. I don't think it would be super realistic to only have tiniest batteries. There you go. Let's do Formosa as well. Important possession. There you go. We are building docks. We are planning signs here. Feel that I maybe went a little overboard with the tonnage on boat. They started smaller. The battleship, if it's gonna consistently lead from the front, needs to be 56 at least, but it ended up 62 and a half. Battle cruiser to be more than 40-ish, 45, ended up 58. So I'll see if I can sort of trim it a little bit when they come through. It's not the ideal way to do it, but we'll see what I can. Yeah, it gets very expensive. My sub fleet is yeah. I have some old coastal subs here. They are well, they are all pretty old. Well, not really. Okay, 10 subs. Lots of fortifications, ships in service. They are all should all be mothballed or have this last one going home. I need to decide if I want to build more colonial cruisers or if I will actually just have some of my ships here on foreign station, but it shouldn't be a problem in the future because I am definitely going to organize a force and send to the Med. The Med alone is 17. Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll also have a force stationed Southeast Asia. But that's for the future. Uh, could reorganize some of this as well. There is a lot. Okay, so these are captains for the mothballs. I'll let the AIS. Yeah, okay, 6 guns now. Double gun mounts, yes, absolutely. Naval aircraft. Uh, well, we can afford to have one group in Valette. Airship base. Hokkaido. No, don't want that. Absolutely, we are definitely looking for better ASV capability. Ah, haha, aha. Ah, finally, we got one with longer range. Maybe it also won't be poor. Firepower difference and the toughness, it's bonus. Oh, okay. We'll try for a fighter again, I think. Firepower and range. Who knows? Maybe. Parasite fighters, yeah. Not interested in airships, to be honest. Rush eyes up. Yeah, I'll look at both. see what we can do, but we have reached January, so it's time for the review. It's that time of year again. There is widespread peace and harmony now, but Russia is a little bit upset with me, not a whole lot, but a tiny bit, and they are still allied to the US, so that maybe that's something we can work with. Germany is not the most well-liked nation in the world. Great Britain are upset with them, US, Spain, but that's about the extent of things. We're up to 67.5. Great Britain is 65 on docks, unrest, everything. Shipbuilding is definitely not okay, so I should definitely do that. But it will be as soon as the battleships and battle cruisers that we have designed and will design get into production, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Base resources increased by almost 2,000 because of huge war operations. A little bit of resources from Iceland. Now it's plus 42. That's interesting because Iceland is valued 2 times 25, so that should be 50. Brain dead today. So it decreased by, well, a 10% decrease would be 5, so almost 20% decrease in value since the start of the game. We've landed on a budget modifier of 15. Everyone seems to be around that mark now. Total budget is down a little bit, but in the long term it will be much better. And since it's peace and everything is back home and mothballed or reserved, we are actually running a huge profit. So filter upkeep will be 1.5 soon. We are definitely an A-tier economy. Only the US has a bigger economy than us now. Great Britain doing some sort of accelerated build program. And we have actually, for the first time in the campaign, made it to advanced. So that's good. I still think we have a medium-sized fleet and that the quality is good. That's how it's pronounced in Norwegian. So a crossover there. It's declining. And we saw that with the Germans with the 10 and 12 barrels of 14, 15-inch guns and almost as heavy armor and probably better armor tech than us. So it was pretty hard, but we have new stuff coming and we have resumed construction and we'll step up construction. So capital ships, okay. Light cruisers, I struggle to build something useful on 8,000, so it will just be more protected cruisers, not true light cruisers. We have 2,000-ton destroyers unlocked and double gun mount, so I'm thinking 3 to 4 double 5-inch turrets and some 3-inch dual purpose. Research was a good year. There have been some quiet years, but 2023 really kickstarted things again, and we are at 12%, and I've shifted some of these priorities around quite a bit. More extreme now with just 2 mediums and the rest either high or low. All forward armament, we designed some ship space on that, and double DD guns, important. We have a new naval patrol aircraft developing. We're trying for another firepower 4 fighter, but I'm not optimistic. And yeah, let's get building. Okay, so let's look at our capital shipbuilding program, and this is the one that I designed. And it was supposed to be minimum 56,000 tons. It ended up being 62.5. That's not terrible. We started with 9 main guns, but we ended up with 12. That is better, 1/3 increase. And the rest is pretty similar to existing battleships with the secondary battery and the tertiary EP battery and the torpedoes and a mix of light and medium AA. Yes, I know that medium AA is not very efficient compared to tonnage, but I like to have a little bit of MAA. Anyway, cost is starting to be very high. It will be expensive to build per month, and it will be expensive to maintain, of course. But protection is overall excellent. Narrow sloped inclined belt at 15 inches. That's significant. You'd need something like a 16-inch or bigger gun to really penetrate that. Good conning tower and turret protection. Deck is up to 3.5. That's pretty heavy in my world. Maybe not in your, but in my. But I got a little bit carried away. We spent over 10,000, 11,000 something developing this. It's very big and expensive, but I really do feel that it's lacking something. I definitely want to build a mid 60s thousand ship, and possibly even with quad turrets or bigger triple turrets. So this could be a basis for that. But I feel that we don't have reliable quads. We don't have TPS-3. There is stuff missing here. I don't want to put all my money into this at the moment. So here it is. You can look it over, and I will include the design files in the folder, of course. It's not a bad ship. I mean, 12, 16-inch quality zero guns. Nothing else afloat could match that. But it's 7,000 a month for one. And the conclusion is no. I will instead update the TOSA, just a 1,000-ton update, give it a little bit of deck thickness, switch the AI armament out, and get it out the door. It's not very exciting, but it's proven a reliable design, so let's go with that. And here it is in its full glory. Nothing has changed really, just added 1/2 inch of deck extended and turret top. You can't make it a full inch on the turret top, because then the game decides it's an entirely new design. Same with changing just single barrel on the turret. That's a completely new class. I think that's very restrictive and unfun, but whatever. Same, a little different graphics wise, and this is not a C mount, but possibly a Q or L or something. It's not important. This looks good, but the ideal was to build a ship at least around the 40,000 mark, but I ended up with a 60,000 ton battle cruiser. That's fast-ish, but it's not like 31 knots. Still got battle cruiser grade belt. Offense is just 1 barrel more than my existing design. Very expensive. So again, yeah, we got carried away, spent a lot of money designing that, and we might use it in the future with further tweaks, but no. So we're basically just taking the existing battle cruiser. For some reason I have used the image for the battleship, but never mind that, I can switch that out. So again, the same, plus 1,000 tons, a little bit of tweaking on the AI. So that's it. No extra ammo. That was also erroneous. I'll fix that. Yeah, that's it really. Turns out it actually did have a little bit of extra ammo because I could fit it. So there it is. It's not the Tsurugi. It is the 24 Ikari. No idea what that means. Those We can do that. Will be the yes. 20. There we go. I think that's more sustainable, really. Now the big question: do we want to spend money on even more duck size, or are we happy? 49, 65, 50, 52. I think I'm. Let's let's do one more round. Below, we have a new Sato. Okay, so we need to get someone up to yellow. That would be ideal. Oh, hugely interesting. 18 minus 1, that's another ball game than 17 minus 1. I find 17 to be a replacement for 16, but I'm not going down in quality there. But this is interesting. Tamba. Ouch. We need to get going, fill out our ranks. When these ships are finished, then I will be quite confident. Did I say probably? Yeah. This is interesting. If we just very informally, this is of course not possible, but so we actually have some wiggle room here. We could go 20. We probably would, and still have tonnage left over 110, 18. Now we're talking. This I can see being a thing. Cannot go normal, of course. It would be impossible, but we could bring the cost down a bit, not a whole lot, but yeah. Possibly do this. Yeah, this would not be so bad. It's some extra ammo, but I'd really like TPS reader. So, options. Probably wouldn't want to build an 18-inch battle cruiser. I would rather have more speed. 16 is hard hit, or more barrels. No, but very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Brilliant, rare admiral. A regional war seems imminent on the mainland, and we want to export arms. Yes, yes, yes. More money and tension. I hope the Russians get really upset. Integral. Oh, wow. Okay. get rid of this. This is obsolete before we do better. Yes, well, this one I feel this is obsolete now. Or maybe we can do better than that. Or fighter float plane. Okay. The float plane is a miracle. It's 5 years old and we still can't get anything better. No, we finished everything. We are just doing the thing here. Everything is on reserve. We are not wasting money on anything. Damage control. We could do it, but every time I think it's not that important. Much better. Oh, we like that. Sumatra. We will send a force to Sumatra. Force circulation, saving on machinery. We just briefly look at already saved several hundred tons. So that's a pretty big change. Oh, it's very close to being possible without any modifications. We could even go smaller and cheaper. Wow. Yeah. This is actually getting built, but we don't need to go smaller. We could go 20 on the turrets, of course. Yeah, we need a little extra tonnage. Absolutely building this. Really looking forward to that. Unrest ticked up to 1 at this turn. Or Russia is up to 6. 6, that's good. 7 would be a lot better. Because then that would not have happened. Just get some money, then Diet takes money away. But we'll buy the submarine and not think too much about it. Hull savings. Supposedly, plane development should be really quick in this era, but no, actually not. This will do a new float plane. It will be bomb. See if we can get a better one. We won't, but we'll try. Now we need to build fortifications. So 2 4-inch, 1 6-inch. We worked so hard for Borneo. Oh, my budget fell like a rock. Very annoying. Yeah, of course, useless scientists. I was considering some destroyer rebuild options, but we have no money, so that will have to wait. Commission, that's good. Advanced director, that's nice to have. Okay, Rugi. Brilliant commander. Can we find him a decent captain? Brilliant captain of the Minesweeper division. You have to start small. No, funny. These bad boys could also do with a rebuild. That's actually doable without any advanced engine technology, and it is not cheap, but it's not horrendously expensive. It's possible. I'd have to tweak a thing or two here and there, but turret top 3. Ooh. That feels thin right now. Yeah. That improved finances by a lot. This one is ready in 6 months. Gunnery expert. Interesting. It's so weird. You have like 100 below average captains, hardly any competent ones. Oh. Oh. Dual purpose guns. That's not so important for me. I can just have a few dual purpose 3-inch guns. That'll work fine. Don't like well, 5-inch dual purpose, but that's further down the road. Germany. Ugly flag. Ominous. Durugi. Didn't this guy... it had a competent captain for like 5 minutes. Don't like disciplinarians. No, sometimes the officer system is kind of a joke with all those skilled rear admirals, but no competent commanders and captains. Yay, another tech stone. I don't want this. Samoa, yes, tension is good. That's just great. Yeah, welcome everyone. Tension did not go up enough, I would say. And they are crap. Look, completely useless now. Not really. I just find it weird that they are so slow. But this is a B model, so you can try taking this one in. Raise its ruggedness. Okay, that's great. Medium bombers, yes, please. Range. Is this a range thing so early, or is a range bomb blow that will do that? Not that important. But medium bombers do become important later. Speech at the annual gathering of the Navy League. What will the gist of your speech? This is just sad. Budget, prestige, and tension drop. A little bit of tension, but it's clearly Russia that's the problem here. And also their alliance with US. Float plane scout, that is just worse. Oh no, thank you. Well, it's not just worse, but it's worse where it matters. Oh, we managed to get it to yellow, and we made it to January, and we have a dock size of 70,000. I feel that is sufficient for the time being. I mean, anything above 65, 70,000, that's you build that for bragging rights, I feel. Oh, oh, we got a nice bump in the budget here. I wonder if we had a lot of resources. We'll know that soon enough, but this clears in 2 months. Then we will have quite a few monies to play with, and we have built our fortifications. Have a decent amount of fortifications everywhere. We can look at the base overview. Iceland could have more battery, absolutely. A little bit exposed out there. And it can have an expanded airbase. But other than that, South Pacific, that's fine. Guam. Anyone touch me out in Guam? I don't know. Not yet, anyway. So it should be sufficient. New Hebrides definitely needs more. We like fortifications. So close to invading Ceylon. You, of course, cannot invade South Africa. That's impossible. Oh, Germany has quite a African empire. Cool. So before we end the episode and start on the new year in the new episode, I wanted to share a sign study with you. I I don't know how many years until the cap on light cruisers increases to 10,000 ton. It should happen relatively soon, but there is some variance in that from game to game. I'm actually going to use a Protector cruiser template for one more design, the Agano. It's maximum 8,000, of course. It is fast-ish. I mean, we've seen 31 knot micro cruisers without any guns zip around at 31 knots, but I find those irrelevant. Sooner or later, they run away or they come too close and then they sink. So 30 knots is pretty solid. It has inclined belt, unit machinery, otherwise it has the same kind of protection as my previous protected cruiser. But it has TPS 2 and the spacious accommodation, so it's kind of a cruiser. Armament, we have upgraded the 8-inch to the quality 1 9-inch that I was pretty sure I would never use. But this seems to be a brilliant opportunity to actually use it after all. I tried to modernize the look of the thing, combining the old with the new. It's not sort of a completely modern ship because it's still a protected cruiser. I think it came out pretty nice. And if you look at the gun table for the 9-inch quality 1 with my current AP tech against my own armor tech, this is what you get. So if I sneak into, say, 5,000 yards, 6,000 yards, I can punch through the belt of all of those old, definitely punch through the belt because they have old quality armor and thin armor. So it can actually seriously hurt much bigger ships. I found that kind of hilarious. Also that I can shoot out to almost 20,000 yards. It's not a biggie, but the weight difference between an 8 and a 9-inch turret there was very small. And they are just single turrets, of course, so that's why the weight difference is so light. And there is still just 6 inches of armor on those turrets, so they shouldn't really be taking 12-inch plus. It's a secondary battery. I had to reduce it because when I can't use casemates, I get into trouble with top space. So this is the best I can do. A little bit of everything for light AA, some torpedoes, very useful, I feel. 20 mines. The cost is quite moderate, 32,000. There are some drawbacks. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's not fantastic, but it should be able to be fairly tanky. With TPS 2, it should be able to eat a torpedo or two or just have a lot of flotation. So even if it gets hurt, it should, with its unit machinery, fast-ish speed, etc., and TPS 2, be able to limp back home. So actually, yeah, speed is mid. It's not low. If you look at all the existing light cruisers, it's in the high end, but when we look forward, soon all the light cruisers will be 10,000 tons and moving 31, 32, maybe even 33 knots. So then, but I'm not too worried because my light cruisers have been slower than the enemies, and that isn't new for me, but they have performed a lot better than anticipated, so I'm not too worried. I would really like a secondary director, but it should appear in a few years and then I can always refit it. No planes because that was just sad. So this is my design. I think it looks okay. A little bit of both time frames. I have, of course, included the full build here as well if you want to check it out, and the file will be provided. So I'm thinking we can definitely sign this. Now we can just jump into this view, and here it is, the Agano. It's changed its caliber, so it automatically becomes a completely different ship types. I mean, you could tweak things around. I have given it quite a bit of ammo on the main. Doesn't need to have 8 torpedoes, blah blah. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So we will design it, and it only takes 2 months anyway, so it's not a big deal. But that I think is enough for today. And that concludes episode 51. Very peaceful episode, I would say. A lot of admin stuff and planning and design and yeah, talking about the future. I certainly had fun. I hope you found it interesting and hope to see you again soon.